One of the biggest misconceptions in this industry is that the best financial professionals have everything figured out on their own. But the reality is that very few people build something great alone. The most successful professionals understand that collaboration creates new ideas, stronger strategies, and better outcomes. Today, we're exploring why partnership matters, what meaningful collaboration looks like, and how the right relationships can help you grow your practice with more confidence. This is a conversation that every financial professional should hear.
Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast for financial professionals.
Welcome to Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast. I'm your host, Bill Bell, Vice President of Advanced Sales with Penn Mutual, and I am so pleased that you chose to join us here today. Now, one of the things that really helps to differentiate good financial professionals from great financial professionals is the ability to collaborate and create partnerships with other financial professionals that are either in their space or completely unrelated categories of life insurance sales. To talk about this and a whole lot more, we invited on Hunter Gimbel, who is one of our amazing 1847 financial professionals, to talk about why he embraced collaboration and partnership, what it really meant to his business, and why it's so important to him. So without further ado, let's just get to that interview that I did with Hunter. All right, Hunter, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Bill, thanks for reaching out. Thanks for inviting me to be part of this wonderful podcast. Been listening to it as a viewer for a while, but happy to be one of the participants at this point.
Excellent. All right. Well, we had you on this show to talk about kind of the power of collaboration, the power of partnership, and so forth. But we want to set some baseline here first. Tell our listeners who you are, what you do, a little bit about your firm, and how collaboration has played a role in your success.
Great question, Bill. Hunter Gimbel. I am the current CEO and managing partner of Gaber Group. We are an advanced planning firm located in New York, specializing in estate planning, wealth transfer, and large life insurance portfolio architecture design. The firm was founded in the early 80s by Fred Gaber, who was a friend and colleague prior to me joining the firm in 2015. Fred had reached out with a goal of transition and succession planning. Initially, his son was his successor, or planned that would maybe be his successor. Most of our clients work in the Wall Street space, so they are typically investment bankers, private equity, or traders or portfolio managers at hedge funds. Fred's son had worked in banking at the time and wanted to continue his career, so he was looking for someone that would be the heir apparent, but perhaps didn't bear the name Gaber. I had worked for a friendly competitor of Fred's for 7 years, so we had known each other very well, and the stars had aligned for me to join him in a mentorship and then ultimately succession and acquisition of the firm. So I've been involved with collaboration or joint work or mentorship for most of my career in the industry. So I've been a benefactor of collaboration and really seen what that can do for clients as well as for advisors, Bill.
So, follow-up question there was, when you joined that firm, kind of the aha moment for you that it's going to always be better to go together on something rather than try to go it alone? Is that really at the moment that you realized that collaboration was the way forward?
I think it was a continuation of a message that I had heard and had been ingrained in me since joining Penn Mutual in the career side in 2005, believe it or not. So I've been involved in joint work or collaboration really from the early days of being in the business, Bill. And when I was building my previous team and my previous organization, we were working as a team and jointly regularly. So this was certainly a transition into a more sophisticated and advanced market outside of what I was doing. But I was always a big believer in joint work and collaboration. And if you have the benefit of getting to learn from really, really excellent advisors, you can really up your game pretty quickly.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a huge for many financial professionals. How has kind of that collaboration slash partnership helped grow your firm? And I know that this has kind of gone into turbo a little bit for you over the last 5 years as you've been working with some other financial professionals. Can you give an example or two in regards to how that's really helped your firm go from very successful to uber successful? I would say in the relatively recent past here.
Well, I think it started, and I have to give some credit to the founder, Fred Gaber. When I joined Fred in 2015, he introduced me as his partner and future successor from day one of being in the business. So it automatically elevated my position with our top clients. And for the first, I would say, 6 to 12 months, I was a fly on the wall where I took down all the notes in the meeting. I sent all the follow up emails. I worked on all the designs that were needed between Fred and the client and our operations. But Fred was really the one that was delivering the presentations and designs. And it was interesting because I had been in the business at that time for almost 7 years. So it wasn't like I was a newbie in the business at that time, but I was going backwards to go forwards, as I would say, and I had to be humbled and patient because it's when you're used to being the lead advisor and now you're in the second seat or power planner, you're doing a lot more of the busy work and a lot less of maybe the day-to-day presentation. But I learned a lot. I listened, took notes. And that really helped our transition of the business, I think, quicker than we might have been even considering doing it. And it also showed me how powerful it was to do joint work or continue to do joint work in collaboration with successful advisors. So to maybe add to that, Bill, I'm a member of STAR, of the Penn Mutual STAR Study Group, which is a group of both career and IFN advisors and companies that are, top in the life insurance business and do a significant amount of production with Penn as well as many other carriers. And through that study group, I've gotten the ability to meet other really successful advisors, and one of which Howard Sharfman, who I did not know until we were both in Star together, and over the last 4 or 5 years, although we're in completely different firms and organizations, we've become strategic partners. We're in similar spaces, and we've worked really, really well together. And as a result, we've provided great value to a number of clients around the continental U.S. in private equity and banking that were either existing clients of our firm or referrals clients from our firm. And I've learned a lot from Howard now, similar to what I was able to learn working alongside Fred. So I've continued to double down on the power of collaboration and joint work with successful advisors. All good things in this business are stolen.
All right, I love that. First of all, Howard, brilliant guy, friend of mine for many, many years. So concur on that he's a great person to partner with. But I'm going to use a football analogy here to try to see if I can sum up what you just said there. So Obviously, we're days away here from the start of the NFL season. I'm representing my Rams here.
Let's go
Who, uh,
Giants. Mm.
uh, I'm sure, except for week 2. But the so think about it this way. Early in your career, you were like Ty Simpson, who the Rams just drafted in the first round, who was going to kind of sit behind Stafford for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be, just to kind of learn the ropes, learn McVay's offense, and so forth. And at some point, he'll be the starting quarterback whenever Stafford decides to retire. So that was kind of your early career when you were kind of working under Fred, when you spent that 6 months just kind of listening and learning and so forth. Then you became the starting quarterback. You made the Pro Bowl, which is the star study group. And then you started learning from some other top professionals out there that you didn't have exposure to earlier. So I think what do you think about that analogy? Do you think that's apt?
Yeah, definitely. And being at the Star Study Group or Pro Bowl also opened my eyes to, different areas that they're expanding their businesses, resources that they are using inside their businesses, from coaching to technology, and even how they run their business. So you asked me a question about collaboration and scale. So we're at a point now. I acquired the firm from Fred in 2015. We had a 7-year buyout, which ended in December of this past year. And part of the plan, as we were beginning in 2026, going into this year, was really focusing on the growth and expansion of Gaber Group, by adding some really key folks on the operation side and new business side, but as well as adding some really advanced planners on the life insurance side to grow and scale our business. And um, in looking and learning from collaboration, I've now taken a lot of the information, or soaked up a lot of the information from what other um, founders, CEOs are doing in growing their businesses. And it's helped me dramatically in how we're thinking about growing and scaling our own business. So I think you had a great analogy, Bill.
In this current environment where so many people are virtual and people are working with clients all over the country, is it easier these days to partner with financial professionals, or is it harder? And what advantages do you see with kind of the current technology stacks that we have available to help with collaboration?
I'm going to say it's a little bit of both. I think it's easier to partner because you can do it cross borders now. You don't need to be in the same physical location. So because of that, you could partner with, someone like myself. You could partner with Howard. You could partner with someone where there's no geographic boundaries to do so. The challenge is you have to know those people, though, right? And so you need to make sure you're still getting there and either attending conferences, or using resources like the advanced sales desk at Penn Mutual, or your resources within the industry to know who to go to partner with. So I think that is probably the biggest challenge that maybe advisors face today, is because there's much more of a virtual world that we're living in, and you have all the tools at your disposal. Listen, we can pretty much operate anywhere today, right? With the way technology works, which makes the ability to work with clients very, very efficient, because you don't necessarily need to be in their office. They don't need to be in your office, as long as you have the right, computer technology and AI and back office support. And you can leverage joint work, but you still need to make sure you're getting out there to meet and spend time with your joint work partners, to make sure you have the right resources when those opportunities come, Bill.
So, could you share with the audience, without naming any names or any client names, a opportunity that you were able to turn into business where you partnered with another financial professional that you might not have been able to actually put in place without that partnership?
I'm going to give you a recent one. So a gentleman who I believe you know well. I'll name the advisor's name because we have a very good relationship. Chris Stagel, who's over at Robin Glenn, who was part of the advanced planning team at NFP, and I've known for a long time. He worked alongside Fred when Fred was at Momentum for a period of time, and Chris and I have had a tremendous relationship. He's such a solid human being, and we have worked on a significant amount of joint work cases over the past, I would say, 12 months, one of which was an existing client, very high level banker at Goldman Sachs, and needed to make several updates to an older legacy insurance policy. And through the power of joint work over several months, I mean, we did informal underwriting, then formal underwriting. There was a 1035 exchange to one of Penn Mutual's newer products that was just much more competitive than what he had previously, met his objectives. And it was just great teamwork from start to finish. So we both played different roles. I had the client relationship, the trust was already there. I leveraged Chris for some of his industry experience on all the various, I would say, products and solutions. And then, really, each step of the way, we worked in unison to present to the client. The both of our organizations even handled the underwriting and operation together. But it was it allowed us to deepen our bench without necessarily having to add someone internal inside of the firm, and ultimately it provided a great solution and value to the client. And that's really the most important thing. It's less about what it provides to us, and more important, what was the value to the client, the optics to the client. And it was just overall, from start to finish, a great experience for both of us, I believe.
Completely agree with that. I think that kind of ultimately the value that it brings to the client is the real kind of secret sauce of partnership, is that you can really boost credibility with yourself, with the client, where you say, hey, I'm bringing in an expert, or I'm going to be leveraging this partnership that I have. And I think that you do that as good as anybody that I've seen out there.
And I think, Bill, to that point, if you want to provide the best value and work with really successful individuals and families, most people might be able to handle it on their own, but there might be something you did not hear that someone else heard, or an idea of the best way to approach something. So having, you know, two advisors and maybe even three advisors in certain instances working with a really successful family, along with their other advisors, their CPA, their trust and estate attorney. It takes a village to get things done the right way. And so sometimes there's a fear of wanting to bring in another advisor, because that means that there's got to be some type of, share of compensation. But ultimately, I have found that your compensation usually goes up because you're you're working with really smart people that might see something slightly different than you, but you have two people trying to get to the same ultimate outcome for the client, and the client typically appreciates that as well.
Yeah, it's the old argument that 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And I think that the people that have embraced partnership really kind of understand the math behind that. I mean, if you try to go it alone and you're not able to place the case, or the client just decides to go with somebody else because they are utilizing other resources, that's just not the way to go. I mean, partnership is just so important.
And I think that's part of our thesis or vision for the future of our organization is, and we do so right now. I mean, everyone in the team works collaboratively almost on every client. So we're touching every client together. But in bringing in other advanced advisors inside of our organization, it is to work collaboratively as a team and a unit on these, successful clients and families, because I believe that if you deepen your bench, you can provide, great value and magic to these families, which ultimately leads to long-term client retention, referrals and introductions, both from the client as well as from their other advisors, because they see the value that is ultimately provided. And unlike the investment world, where when someone says they want to move forward, it's a matter of paperwork, it, it's a much it's a different process when it comes to writing large amounts of life insurance. As you know, it's just from informal underwriting to formal underwriting to APSs. There's an art to underwriting. There's an art to get things from start to finish. And there's a lot of steps along the way that you have to be able to navigate through. So having a deep bench to provide that allows you to get things over the finish line, get clients motivated, and get things done the right way.
So we've focused so far on partnerships with other financial professionals, but do you also partner with other professional advisors such as CPAs and attorneys? Are they a referral source for you? And why is it so important to kind of expand your partnership network beyond other financial professionals?
Great point. I would say we've built a short list of our top advisory partners that we work with on a regular basis. So there are 3 or 4 trust and estate firms throughout the country that we have really, really good relationships, and we've vetted those over the last, call it 15 plus years, that we know their process from start to finish. We know what they typically charge for basic planning, sophisticated planning. We know what the turnaround time is, and it's almost like clockwork when we work together on a client. Now, we probably introduce 50 to 60 clients a year to trust and estate law firms. And our introductions, I think, are quite different than some other advisors. So um, we do the internal design work. We map everything out. So by the time a client of ours typically meets with a trust and estate lawyer, their entire estate diagram, and we have our own, is filled out, completed. It makes their job really easy. It also saves the clients probably 20 to 30% of the estate planning fee, which no one loves paying legal fees. I don't care how wealthy you are. Um, it also, we have seen, cuts down the time of how long it takes from someone wanting to update their estate planning to execution, from 6 to 12 months to 3 to 4 months for most of our clients, and we handhold them through the process. So to back to your question, because of the value we have provided and the collaboration we've created, most of those firms now use us when there is an opportunity for an insurance audit, or clients need to do more sophisticated planning for estate liquidity, buy, sell work, succession planning. So that way we're on their short list of firms to use when those opportunities come up. We also are now the back office for a few family offices, and we do some work for some property and casualty insurance companies that don't handle really life insurance inside of their organizations. So those have been great relationships. They take time to build. We're continually building our process and communication to make sure they're kept in the loop, because each of them have a little bit different of a requirement of how much or how little they want to be involved in the client communication. But yes, it's been a tremendous area for our firm to be able to grow with those relationships, Bill.
So what started really as where you were referring clients to these professional advisors has become a two-way street where they're now referring business back to you. And I think that that's so important for people to understand that sometimes it takes a long time to cultivate these relationships with professional advisors.
Without a question, I think there's the old adage of go form a relationship with a CPA or investment firm if you're not in that space, or trust and estate, and you go to meet with them, and then the advisor is confused because they've sent a couple of introductions and nothing has come back. We've always gone with the belief that we will find good partners that can provide value to our clients first and foremost. If that then works to them seeing our value, we will become a referral source of them. It might not happen right away, but if you're trying to do one to one, it usually doesn't work. So most of the ones that we have really good relationships, we felt that there was value they could provide us and our clients first without any commitment on their end or even any discussion. And kind of naturally, the relationships build. And as they see the value that you often, provide to your clients, if you're aligned with the clients you're working on and you're building that relationship, naturally those conversations evolve.
All right, last work related question here. Um, for somebody that has not partnered with either a financial professional or a professional advisor in the past, but they're interested in doing so, what advice would you give them to kind of get started down that path?
So the way that I've always viewed it is you want to first of all make sure you have the same, culture, beliefs, and you're comfortable with the advisor. Number two, it's also helpful that they're inside, I think, of the markets or type of clients that you work with, because it means they may know how to navigate um, better than you have. So the good part about Penn Mutual, I would say, is on the career side and independent side, there is no lack of good advisors to partner with. So I would suggest or recommend, you reach out if you're an advisor to either, to Bill or the advanced planning team. If you're on the career side, you reach out to your managing director, explain the type of clients you're working with or want to meet with, and they can guide you as to who is going to be the right partner or partners. And it might take a couple of calls and meetings. Listen, I've been doing this for a long time, and not all of the joint work partners that we've tried worked. Some just for the way that that advisor and I communicate just wasn't a good fit. So you have to try different people out and different organizations out.
So, three quick takeaways there. One, you want to partner with somebody that you're going to get along with. If you think that person's a jerk, that's probably not somebody that you're going to want to partner with. Two, you want to make sure that you're in similar markets. So if it's somebody that works with business owners, and if you're in the business owner marketplace, that's probably something that you would want to pursue, high end estate planning, special needs, whatever it may be. And then three, uh, obviously, whether you are a member of 1847 Financial or somebody that works with Penn Mutual through the IFN, or just a listener that is not affiliated with Penn Mutual in any way, reach out to the resources that you do have. And obviously, there's a lot of referral sources out there that are available.
And I would say to that point, any of these joint work, it was never about the carrier, meaning, obviously, Bill, this is a Penn Mutual, podcast, and certainly, you want to give Penn Mutual first right of refusal if that makes sense. But any of the joint work partners that I've worked with, it was, what can we do to help this client? And then ultimately, what is the best solution? So it's really nice. and being part of Star has helped me a lot because there's a little bit of everything in Star. You have those on the career side, those on the independent side. But anytime I've worked jointly with a Star producer like myself, it's been what's the client, what's the situation, you collaborate together and then figure out, what's the best way to solve that person's, objectives or goals there.
Yeah, it helps to kind of just maintain your independence and really bring credibility to the entire transaction.
Completely.
All right. We like to end these interviews with a couple of fun questions. And so the first one, the last time I saw you in person, it was right at the beginning of the NBA Finals. We knew that the Knicks were in. We knew they were going to be playing the Spurs. I was rooting for the Knicks. I thought the Spurs would win, but obviously the Knicks proved me wrong and took the championship. Uh, I am 52 years old. I was born in July of 1973. So I had never known a world where the Knicks had been NBA champions. Can you explain why that was such a big thing for New Yorkers and for the city itself? Because I think even more so than when the Giants or the Yankees have won championships in the past, it was such a huge thing for the city to have a NBA champ there.
I'm a avid sports fan. I'm a diehard New York Islander fan. I love the New York Giants. I follow the Mets, and the Knicks. And I also went to Indiana University, so go Hoosiers this year as well. So it's been quite the year for me. And I was at the national championship game in Miami for that, which was amazing. But New York is an interesting market when it comes to sports. You have a lot of split fan bases. You have the New York Giants, the New York Jets. You have the Rangers and the Islanders, the Mets, and the Yankees. But universally, for the most part, besides for some, net fans, but most of New York are Knick fans. And so you saw the entire city come together and the suburbs come together and just seemed like it was just amazing to watch everyone come together and New York's been going through some of our own trials and tribulations, just the state of New York and mass exodus to Florida and other places. But for this one point in time, it seemed like there was just unity of the entire city. And I actually didn't know if I would see the Knicks win during my lifetime. I probably would if I was a betting person, bet against that. So this was really a special championship. And for me, it was the first one that I got to experience with my three kids who are now 7, 12, and 15. So they're old enough to watch it with us. So it was just really a once in a lifetime opportunity. It still doesn't feel real. Like I'm still like waiting to wake up from this dream and hearing that the Spurs won in 7 because of some meltdown that we had. But it was magical. It was a magical run.
It sounds like the Knicks in New York are kind of like the Lakers here in Los Angeles. I We obviously have two basketball teams in Southern California. We have the Lakers and we have the Clippers. I've lived in LA almost my entire life, or Orange County in this particular case where I live now. And during that entire time, I've known four Clipper fans. And one of them was Donald Sterling's daughter, who used to own the team. So that just kind of shows how much of a Lakers town this is. And it sounds like the Knicks are the same way. And when the Lakers win a championship here, the town goes crazy for sure. It's been a little while now. I mean, it's been 16 years since the last Lakers championship. But when they do go on a run, the city goes crazy.
And there's something, listen, romantic about sports and stories. And, there was just something special you felt about this team, from their work ethic to their unity. And I think you can take a lot of takeaways from that into business as well, where, um, you know, they had to make changes to ultimately get to their ultimate goal. And I view a lot of those, we're not the Knicks, but in our own organization, both from technology to personnel to just the way that you have to go about things. So change is difficult sometimes, but if you want to, reach whatever those goals ultimately are, you have to operate differently. And this team operated differently from, the end of the season through the playoffs. It was a selfless team. They were working towards the same goal. Every person, had to step up at different points in time. So there's always good life takeaways for me, at least, watching sports that you can implement into your business, to your kids, to your friends. But it was a magical run. I think everyone in New York is still on the high of seeing this championship. But it was amazing.
All right, last question. What is your favorite part about living in New York City? And you have to just choose one. It could be the food, it could be entertainment, it could be sports, it could be just kind of the fact that there's always something to do. What is the best part about living in the city?
New York is the city that never sleeps. And so there is always action in New York. There's a certain one of my best friends is in real estate. We talk about this all the time. There's a certain energy level and about drive and business that I just don't think you see anywhere else. This competitive feeling, action, just there's like a certain oxygen when you are in New York. And I just love it. It's intoxicating to me when you're walking around, New York City on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and you just feel the energy. There's just an energy level that you can't explain unless you've been in New York City. So listen, I love pizza. So, the food is great. The sports are great. But if I had to name one thing, it's that energy level of that's just intoxicating being in New York.
It is pretty incredible. I go to New York 2 to 3 times a year, usually for work. And every time I feel the same thing. So completely concur on that. Although I do love the pizza. It is tremendous.
And listen, I love other places, but I love living in New York. I think it's a great, it's the Big Apple, kind of still the center of the finance, world here, and there's just a tremendous amount of opportunity, even with all of the maybe negative press and things going on. So,
All right. Well, Hunter, thanks so much for joining us. You've been super generous with your time. Really appreciate you being our guest on this episode of the podcast and looking forward to having you back again sometime soon.
anytime, Bill, and thanks for all you're doing. I think this is helping not just folks inside of or connected with Penn, but the industry. It's a small industry. We need to keep doing the best that we can to promote and grow it with the right people. So thanks for all that you're doing, both for Penn Mutual and for our industry at large. It's really, really important for our sustained growth and success here.
Well, thanks for saying that. That's very nice of you. And again, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Bill.
Well, thanks again to Hunter. Just a tremendous guy, tremendous financial professional, does a great job for his clients in New York and all over the country. And I guess congratulations to the Knicks. I'm a diehard Lakers fan, but it was good to see the Knicks win their first championship in my lifetime. So congratulations to them and all their fans. If you have a question for me or for Hunter or anybody else associated with the show, you can send us an email to lifematters@pennmutual.com. Again, that's lifematters@pennmutual.com. That's a special mailbox that only I have access to. And I do respond to every email that's sent there. So again, one last time, lifematters@pennmutual.com. If you haven't checked out the Penn Mutual YouTube page, do so today. We have so much great content there. We have episodes of this show. We have dedicated content that we create for the YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in Penn Mutual in the search box. You'll find the channel. Smash that subscribe button. Check out some of the videos. You won't be sorry. Speaking of subscribing, if you haven't subscribed to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, do so today so you don't miss future episodes of the show. And then finally, if you are a subscriber on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, stop by and leave us a review. A star review only takes a few seconds and helps to boost visibility of the show. If you leave a written review on the Apple Podcasting app, I'll be your best friend. So for Hunter Gimbel, I'm Bill Bell. Thanks again for joining us here today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.